So after that 30-minute Naz Reid Love Fest, let's move into 6 through 15. Unfortunately, it will not be filled with Naz Reid, which is a dismay to all my Naz Reid lovers and myself out there.
Shedding tears. You.
So here's some fun news. I'm actually not going to be a part of the live coverage that we have on MVP because I'm going to be at the Naz Reid draft party. Did you know that?
Naz Reid invited you personally?
I got an invite. So so June 20th. 23rd? 20th? One of those days. I'm going to be at the Naz Reid household.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
okay.
So shout out Naz Reid. I'll see you soon, buddy. Let's
Tweet
get
at
through
him,
our
please.
6 through 15. We'll go Ricky's big board, then Dave's big board, and then my big board. Next segment, we'll bring in the cumulative, where we'll go 25 through 1 on that one, where we put all of ours together and rank them. But we'll go with Ricky's first, starting at 15. He has Nasir Little, forward out of UNC. At 14, he has Kevin Porter Jr., guard out of USC. At 13, he has Goga, or Gorga Batazde, as he would say, from International. 12, Kobe White, guard from UNC. 11, Rui Hachimura from... Rui Hachimura, forward out of Gonzaga.
That's for Ricky.
10, Sekou Demboya, forward from International. 9, Brandon Clark, forward from Gonzaga. 8, Cam Reddish, forward from Duke. 7, Darius Garland, guard from Vanderbilt. And 6, Bol Bol, center from Oregon.
Say it like Ricky. Ball.
Ball.
At number 15, I have Kevin Porter Jr. from USC. At 14, I've got Romeo Langford, guard from Indiana. At 13, I have Nasir Little, surprisingly on my board, forward
Pretty
from UNC. Too. Yeah, well, he had a good combine. At 12, I had Brandon Clark from Gonzaga. And at 11, I had his buddy, Rui Hachimura, also from Gonzaga. At 10, I had Kobe White, the guard from UNC. At 9 is a shock to some, DeAndre Hunter out of Virginia. At 8, I've got Sekou Demboya, international forward. At 7, I've got Cam Reddish, forward from Duke. At 6, to round it all out, it's Bol Bol from Oregon.
All right. And my 15 through 6. At 15, I have KZ Okpala from Stanford, who we talked about in our 25 through 16 segment. Check that out if you want to hear some talks about him. 14, I have Kevin Porter Jr., guard from USC. At 13, I have Romeo Langford, guard from Indiana. At 12, I have PJ Washington, forward from Kentucky. At 11, I have everyone's favorite, Bol Bol, center from Oregon. At 10, I have Kobe White, guard from UNC. At 9, I have Cam Reddish, forward from Duke. 8, I have Goga Batazde, international center. At 7, I have Jarrett Culver, guard for... I put the Bulls. I didn't put Texas Tech. I put the Bulls. Oops. And then 6, I have Sekou Demboya, forward from overseas. So let's jump into the couple of guys that we have. You want to actually start off with something, and we talked about this a lot, 25 through 16. You were saying that you're in love with these potential guys. So you're in love with Bol Bol, you're in love with Cameron Reddish, you're in love with Sekou Demboya, pretty much your 6 through 8 segment there. And even you could even say Darius Garland too, who's at 5 in your next spot. You're really in love with those guys and the potential that they have. So let's talk a little bit about how much we might be blinded by potential, because that was something that you were saying.
Oh, absolutely.
You're looking at all these guys, and you're looking and you're like, well, there's so much room to grow. What really could hold you back, or what really pushed you forward on putting these guys so high, or really holding some of these guys back, possibly?
Yeah, I think the big thing when it comes down to it is just the quality of this draft class specifically. I think there are only so many top-end talented guys. Sean, you doing okay over there?
Yeah, keep going. Spilled water all over myself.
I
think this is a fucking train wreck of a podcast.
Fucking Rudy Gay, man. Shit.
Oh, thank you. I mean, Rudy Gay comp could be for Cameron. No. I think that, honestly, this draft class leads me to lean heavier on potential for some of these top-end guys rather than go for the known, and that is why you see other guys falling on my board. I think a player with as much natural skill as Bol Bol has, as much gifted athleticism as like a Sekou Demboya, someone who can play the outside wing, can score at will. Cam Reddish, a guy who we got to see the best out of him, not in his time at college, but his time playing at AAU and in high school. There's just the upper echelon of talent is there, and I look at some of the other guys and I'm like, yeah, they're going to be good basketball players, but like when you're drafting that high in the draft, some of these years you roll the dice on these guys who have that uber upper end talent, because let's be honest, you're not going to build a championship team out of a bunch of B minus, B to C players. Like that's just not how you build champions.
And here's kind of where I separated these guys because I agree with you 100%. And potential is such a difficult thing to weed out.
It really is.
Because you're trying to say, all right, this guy has everything that you want in an NBA player. What are the negatives? And I think maybe I got bogged down in that a little bit too much. And I put Bol Bol at 11. And the biggest thing about that is the size. I brought up the injuries before. Whatever. I'll write off this one for all the Bol Bol lovers out there. I'll write off this one as just an injury. People get injured. Shit happens. All right. This one gets written off. But
can I ask you the question then?
Yeah.
If he didn't get injured this year and he played out the regular season and, say Oregon gets eliminated in like whatever, first round of the tourney.
I mean, they went to the Sweet 16.
Okay. So say they win another game then.
Yeah.
What would your take be? Like drop his shooting percentages by 5% from 3 for reasonable sake, because I don't think he's gonna shoot 53% at the end at an entire season's worth of value. Would he be top 5 for you? Because I find a hard time telling myself that I wouldn't take him top 5 100% then.
The thing that I would really want to see is just how he would do against bigger guys defensively. And how he would do against NBA level defenders, because we did not see that
many of those
at all.
Yeah, there's not many NBA level defenders at the 5 in college.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah. That's the thing.
We got a 6'8" kid in Brandon Clark who's the big defensive stopper. You got
Zion Williamson.
Zion Williamson,
the 6'8" biggest stopper.
So you got 2 guys who are 6'8". You could try.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing.
That's one of the.
That's the biggest thing with me is I didn't see enough. Difficulties that he had in college. And people will be like, well, that's because he's massively talented, which he is. He's absolutely talented. I do not want to take away how talented he is. If you have him in your top 3 because of his talent, go ahead. Bless your fucking heart. If you have him in your top 5, bless your fucking heart. All right? I personally cannot do that. If you're going to get upset at it, whatever. I don't care.
That's fine.
Even writing off injuries. And let's say he did that exactly.
Yeah.
Him coming in at the combine at 208 is concerning. Because it's a completely different game, college to the NBA.
Yep.
Shaq could give his fucking blessing about him, but guess what? Shaq was gifted 7 feet tall and like a fucking 300 pounds.
It's like if you stretched out Charles Barkley, that was Shaq.
Yeah, and Bol Bol is literally like 100 pounds less than Shaquille O'Neal and does not has smaller legs than I do. I have more fat on my legs as a 5'8" porty boy. Then Bol Bol is going to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
And that's a concern for me. When you're going up against these guys that are going to be super physical, just look at what Nikola Jokic did to Edis Cantor in the playoffs. If you're going up against him, he's going to just attack you with his body. If you're going up against Embiid, who has this crazy motor and is just always out to kill you, you're going to get run over. If you're going up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're going to get run over. Plain and simple. He does not have enough size on him.
He needs to just play against soft bigs like Cat.
Like Cat. Honestly, yeah. But here's the thing. But here's the thing about Cat that I don't have a worry about him, and that's the reason why he's a top 5 center. They both are extremely gifted offensively.
Yeah.
Him and Cat. But Cat is big. Cat's 7 feet tall, at least 250.
Yeah.
He has 50
got the
pounds
size
on Bol Bol.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that worries me, is that if they're the same speed, or let's just say that, and they're the same athletes, I see more of an explosive player in Karl-Anthony Towns than I do Bol Bol. Bol Bol is very long, and that's a huge gift to him, but he's not explosive. You're not going to see these crazy, massive dunks, or you're not going to see these crazy, explosive blocks from him. You're going to see him use his size and his length. But Cat is this next-level athlete to go along with this skilled offensiveness. And I don't see that with this skilled offensive ability. I don't see that with Bol Bol. Bol Bol is not this great athlete. He's a very long and a very gifted player. But I don't know if he has that athletic ability, and he definitely doesn't have the size to be an NBA player. And hell, maybe he grows into it, but I don't have that ability to put him above guys like Cam Reddish, where Cam Reddish didn't put it all together in college, but you can see that he's an NBA player, he's got NBA athleticism, and he's got NBA size. If Cam Reddish had the year that Bol Bol had, Cam Reddish would be top 3, maybe even top 2. I mean, if Cam Reddish was able to show what Bol Bol did, at least offensively, have those skills, clearly he wouldn't be showing the same.
His shooting percentages would be insane compared. Like he was one of the worst shooters by volume.
But if Cam Reddish was able to show the offensive sets or the offensive moves that Bol Bol does, he'd be a top 2 player without a doubt.
Probably.
But the thing that Cam Reddish has over Bol Bol is size, and obviously they're playing different positions. But I don't know if Bol Bol can last 5 years in the NBA.
Yeah,
because he's that thin. And I know we're going to bring up our boy Nigrodamus on Twitter. Shout out to him. I love that he's always sliding in our DMs.
Mm-hmm.
He was a huge fan of LaMelo Ball, and LaMelo's looking crazy huge.
Yeah, he is.
So shout out. He knows something about basketball. Nigrodamus isn't stupid. And he's in love with Bol Bol. I just don't think that he's going to be able to add size. And that's where that potential wanes for me. Because he doesn't have that potential to become an NBA player. Or a
long-term.
He doesn't have that potential to be an NBA-sized player. Where Cam Reddish, he has that size, and it's just about putting it all together. If he's right place, right time, he might be an NBA star.
Yeah, you put him on the right with the right coach, the right training staff, and given the question of like better ball in hands, is he more of a creator and where he was just a spot up shooter? That's the question.
The thing that I worry about Cam is people might fall in love with him too much. And you see the workout warrior stuff that's coming out, especially coming from Draft Express. There was like a 15-minute thing, and I think it was either Schmitz or Giovanni was just raving about Reddish's performance.
Yes.
And the thing that I just want to say is don't fall in love with it. It could be real. It could be the absolute truth. He could be absolutely everything that he's showing in that video. Great speed, great length, great dunks and everything. But he's not going up against anybody. And when you're going up against somebody with the mindset of I'm going to stop you, do you have that next level motor to get by them and prove them wrong and get to the bucket and score? And I don't know if Cam Reddish showed that enough in college. He didn't show that on a consistent enough basis to be a guy that was an efficient shooter and scorer. And that's something that worries about me. You could be a great gifted athlete, but do you have that ability to be a great player? I don't know if that's true.
It's funny because you say offensively, and yet defensively, he's a guy who actually was able to get locked in on guys, and he's a great wing defender. So I think that, if you see it on one end of the court, you want to believe that there is something there that maybe just given the situation.
100%, and that's why he's above Nasir Little.
Yeah.
The Nasir Little didn't show me enough out there, where Cam Reddish did. Similar bodies. Cam Reddish is bigger.
Nasir
and Cam's got an NBA skill.
We'll get to it later.
In both defense and shooting from the outside. It just can Cam take all of that, turn it up, and become a full player.
Yep.
Because he's gonna be an NBA player without a doubt. It's just what quality level player. Where then Sekou, who's above Cam and Bol Bol, I have him at 6. I see the want to get better. He's got youth on his side. He's younger than both those players, and I look at his growth as well, and we're seeing him growing overseas. And I think that that's something he could take to the next level. He seems very well grounded. He seems that he knows he's got this idea of how he can get there. And I think he's got that, that fight to be there. Where Cam's been, top recruit. He's been at Duke. He's been getting praised.
He was placed on a pedestal since he was like 14.
Yeah, and Bol Bol knew he was going to be a basketball player. He's been holding the basketball since he was 3 years old. He comes from an NBA father.
I remember watching a video years ago about Bol Bol actually going to...
he was like an 8th grader, like dunking, he was 6'5".
Yep.
It's
insane. He's going to an academy, and
Yeah, Bol Bol's been groomed to be a basketball player.
Yep.
Cam Reddish has been groomed to be a basketball player. Sekou kind of had to fight a little bit, and I love that. And I think that mindset will help him grow in the NBA. And he might not be as great of an athlete as Cam Reddish. He might not be naturally gifted with Bol Bol's length, but I think he might have that need and drive to become a great player. And that's where that potential really gets maxed out. Because it's really, you can have these high ceilings, but how are you ever going to hit that? Do you have a way to hit that?
Yeah.
And I think Sekou, if he has that drive, and I'm not making this bullshit up, and this is just something that I want to happen, if he actually has that drive, he might have the best ability out of all these 3 guys that we're talking about to hit that max ceiling. We always talk about that ceiling. How do you hit that? You work your ass off. And I think Sekou's shown that, of changing his shot, of becoming a more go-to player for Liga Mes overseas, and being a guy that really is dedicating himself to basketball and making sure he's in the right place to play basketball is something that really speaks volumes to me. And he's only 18.
Yeah.
He's going to be 19 in December.
He slapped his name on the board early. At the under-16 game, he really, really put his name on the board. Under-18 game, did the same thing, was best player by far in that game. And I want to say that at the NBA level, he comes in as an intriguing, 3-4 prospect. Either he's an oversized 3 or he's, a standard 4. And he's able to do a lot of things for you. So I agree. The work ethic looks good. As far as what we're going to see out of him when he comes over, I'm super intrigued to see that. That's the biggest thing, is because we've seen guys hit and miss based off of their teams. And guys like Mara Hazonia and Frank Ntilikina, like both of those guys, Ntilikina. I don't know why I added on extra, whatever, but both of those guys, I think, it's growing pains, and it's part of the team failing them, not understanding how to best use them. Like Mara Hazonia was weird as hell in Orlando. Remember, he started off as a 2, and then by his last year, he was playing power forward for them.
And that was his best spot.
And that was his best play. And then you go over to his time on the Knicks, and he played every one. By the end of the year, he played 1 through 4, and his most success was as a ball handling, Justice Winslow-like role as the Heat used. It was having him as a primary ball handler on that team. So I think that a lot of it is just knowing how to use the guy to get the most out of him. There's a language barrier, and then there is how do we make sure this guy make sure we're doing everything to get this guy to where he needs to be? Are we giving him the opportunities? Are we giving him the right things? Frank obviously struggled because his shot, he's never a great shooter, but his shot hasn't really progressed a ton. And you look at the opportunities, he's had healthy DNPs. He's had weird, all right, he's back in, he's back out, he's back in, he's back out. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? We've seen him play the 3 even on that Knicks team. The Knicks are a dumpster fire. I'll just get that out of the way. But I'm just concerned. We've seen Euro prospects come over, and the great ones will transcend. Luka Doncic hit instant success. We're seeing your boy and Nikola Jokic being incredibly successful because guess what? They changed their entire offensive scheme because of how talented he was. Yeah. And I think that's the thing is if you have the buy-in from an organization to work with you, work around you, and work with your talents to get the best, that's where you can hit at the NBA level. And those, I feel the European players are especially in need of that.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen with Naz Reid too. Nikola Jokic, big body fat boy. He really slimmed down. It's just going to happen to Naz Reid. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head. If they're able to work with these guys, and obviously they're able to stay healthy, and they're able to do what's best for these players, all 3 of these guys can hit.
Yeah,
I could be looking stupid putting Bol this low, 100%. I know that's an absolute.
But you've got to have a system that works for a 7'3" trebuchet shooting center.
Exactly. You need to be able to have the guys in that weight room and in that training facility to know how his body works.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know fucking shit about chemistry. We don't know shit about genetics.
Why
right?
Chemistry? What are you drugging these people?
Like body chemistry.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are we...
Well, how to build up, or even kinetic, or what's it called? Kinesthetics? The ability of building up muscle and building up weight and just weight training in general, and then how his
kinesiology
going to work. Kinesiology. If he's put in a place that really knows how to work with that stuff, maybe he's able to really build up that body, and then that worry for me goes away. And then it's just really, can you put yourself in the best position? And then maybe the coaching is right. That's why I really would like the Heat to take him, because I think they are very smart, at least making sure body fat percentage is all right and correct. And
they've got one of the best training staffs in the NBA.
Yeah, and seeing the work that they've been able to do with building up guys' bodies. That stuff is really intriguing to me. And then you obviously, just give them a great coach in Eric Spoelstra. That would be something that's super intriguing to me. And I would love for Bobo to prove me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. We know, Sean, just for anybody watching, not actively rooting against any of these kids.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, some people then come with hate and why do you hate Bobo? I don't. I don't like his game.
Yep.
And hate is such a I don't fucking hate this guy.
I was gonna say
he's not like a murderer. I don't hate. He's not Ted Bundy out here. He's just a kid, and I'm trying to evaluate him.
Sean, that's a new clickbait title. Is Bull Ted Bundy?
Jesus Christ. But no, that's the thing is there's a ton of potential with him, and I could be proven wrong, and I hope I am.
That's why I duct tape them together. In my big board, I was like, yep. Here's the little pool of I'm hopeful of your potential. I don't know if you're gonna hit or not.
Highest potential out of those 3.
Bull.
Okay. Who has the best chance to succeed?
Probably Cam Reddish.
Okay. I disagree. I think highest is Cam.
Okay.
And I think obviously I already said the highest chance to succeed is Sekou.
Okay.
Because I think if Cam puts it all together, we're talking Paul George. And we saw what Paul George just did when Paul George put it all together. 28 point per game scorer and an all defensive team player.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
So that's the thing that I'm really intrigued by Reddish. If he is just really that legit.
Yeah.
Which I'm iffy on. Let's move to the next guy. We talk about potential. This guy's really just intriguing. Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Came in really small at the combine. Didn't have the greatest size. Didn't have the greatest wingspan. But came in, showed he was an athletic freak, like we all thought he was. But the biggest thing then is, his age and how much potential does he really have? Does he have time to work on a shot to become a 3, or is he going to be putting into this role of a very small defensive 4? He's not going to be able to stretch the floor that much for you. And at it's going to be 23 at the start of the NBA season, how much room does he have to grow? And I want to bring you back to the 2016 NBA draft.
Okay.
And we talk about him. We named an award after him, the Malcolm Brogdon Award. He was picked second round, 36th pick. So that's the 6th pick of the second round. And I look at all the guys that went above him, and it's like, well, what point do you start putting Malcolm Brogdon above these guys? And I think you can put him at 30 for sure. Like, I take him above Rade Zagorak. I take him above Tyler Ulis. I take him above Czech Diallo. I take him above Ivica Zubac. I take him over Deontay Davis. I take him over Damon Jones. Mm-hmm. But then you get to DeJounte Murray at the Spurs. I'd probably go DeJounte. Just because DeJounte already showed that he's a next-level defender. Yeah. And that he's still this young. And yes, he dealt with injuries the past year, but I feel like long-term...
He's got all defensive NBA written all over him.
Yes. So there's a guy that I already take above him. Scale Labissiere, obviously I'd take Brogdon because, Scale's not even pretty much in the league. If he is, he's not doing anything, right? Oh, he's with the Trailblazers. Yeah. He can play with him. And then at 27, Pascal Siakam. I'm taking Siakam. Siakam's younger, possible, most improved player of
the year. Not by much.
Winner this year. But, I mean, he's a guy that I take over him.
I don't know. I mean, I think Brogdon's, he's an interesting prospect. There's a lot of guys in between. I see your point.
My thing is just, and then, you look at, Harris or, Malik Beasley. Those guys have a lot of potential and youth on their side. So it's what point is, Brandon Clark, at what point
too good of a player
Clark,
to be passed over?
Yeah. And that's the thing with me is, the worries about his position fit were not there with Malcolm Brogdon. You knew what Brogdon was going to play. And he had that leadership and veteran mentality that Clark had. But we knew what he was going to play, and we knew what he was good at. He was going to be able to lead an offense, and we knew that he was going to be a good defender. It's just, was he limited potential-wise? And we knew he was going to be a great three-point shooter. We know Brandon Clark is going to be able to come in and be a great athlete and be able to be a good defender. But what else can he do? And that's why he moved down so much for me. Being at 20, and maybe that's even too low for me. But I just think that he needs to be such a fit-oriented player to succeed in the NBA. Yeah. Because if Brogdon wasn't on the Bucks, we don't know if he's going to be this good.
I think he would have been. Dude, do you remember shooting splits from college?
Okay, yeah.
45 from the field, 49 from 2, 39 from 3 on 5.2 attempts, 89 from the line at 4 attempts a game. The dude is in his own class of shooting. And come on, when we looked up Tyler Hero, we're talking about that upper echelon of percentages. It was hard to ignore the fact that, he was a Virginia prospect.
Right, and I misspoke. What I'm trying to say is
he is an elite shooter.
Maybe if Brogdon didn't go to the Bucks, he would have been fine and would have still been able to because he showed everything.
But would he have gotten the minutes and the opportunities because of their lack of depth at point guard? I don't know. Yeah. He might still be hiding under a rock somewhere.
Clark, though, my thing is I think he needs to go to a certain spot.
Yep.
I misspoke. You're absolutely right. Brogdon probably would have hit anywhere. But Clark, I feel like he can't really hit anywhere. He needs to be put in a certain situation. So that's why I kind of put him down on my big board.
Yeah, I agree situationally. You're going to need to find a way to use him, but I think he's good enough defensively that I'm going to find a way to get him out on the court and get him minutes. Whether it is rolling him out as a small ball 4, I get it. He's 6'8". That's not anywhere near ideal size for a 4. But you know what? He's got incredible defensive instincts. He has such a good feel for the game. I think that it's worth playing him out there in those situations. Maybe a lot of people want to draw the comparison to maybe he could be like Draymond without the passing. Yeah, that's best case scenario. That is by far your best case scenario is that he's able to do, what Draymond Green does for the Warriors team minus the ability to pass the ball because Draymond's just on a different level as far as that's concerned. Also, Draymond shoots threes. He doesn't. So there's a long way to go on that gap, but I get it. You want someone who is big, strong, and able to disrupt offenses, whether it is in the passing lanes or whether it is when they're attacking the basket, and he can do both of those for you. So I agree defensively. He's a prospect who deserves to be taken probably top 15. I think 20 is a bit low in my mind. I know you've got him there, but that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's too low.
But you just look at him, his offensive game might be fairly rudimentary, but it's effective. The question is are you going to be on a team that has the spacing available to let him work and drive down low and slash and cut? And like, you have to run sets for him because he is not someone who is going to go ISO and make his own situation happen. I mean, you feed him on a handoff dribble and he keeps slashing. You got money. He's got an amazing spin move, but that's about it when it comes into his bag of tricks.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's why I'm like, give him to the T-Wolves, because you have not only if you're putting them out there with the bigs, if you're putting them with Townsend and Dario, both those guys are fairly decent passers.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Townsend's a good passer. Dario's a good passer.
Yep.
So we're talking about Brandon Clark working off ball. He can do that. Wiggins isn't that great of a passer, but Teague's a pretty good passer, and Covington's can move the ball. So I mean, I think he would be a really nice fit in that offense. And then defensively, we talk all the time about Saric isn't that great of a good of a defensive big, and we also look at Karl-Anthony Towns' struggles with his physical guys that Clark could probably at least help that out and bridge that gap a little bit. So that's why I'm just like, give him to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, size-wise, it may not matter. He might have that PJ Washington strength to him where he's just PJ plays the 5 at like 6'5". Like, it's hilarious watching him being able to body centers. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Skill matters over the measurables. And I think Brandon Clark's one of those guys who is going to exceed expectations for his size, but at the same time, you're going to look at him and go like, how is he kind of doing that? How is he so effective at it? But it's limited because unless he's able to work on his offensive game and stretch the floor, you can't have him out there and be 4-on-5 Andre Roberson style. That's my concern.
Let's talk about finally the guy we talk about what seems to be every single big board, and that's Nasir Little, a guy that had a very interesting combine overall.
Yeah.
Came in and was a really good size. Obviously we talk about NBA bodies, and he clearly has one. 6'6", 7'1" and a quarter of a wingspan, and an 8'8.5" standing reach. That's extremely impressive right there. And then he turns around and has some of the shittiest performances in the agility times I've ever seen. For a guy that has that NBA body, he was slower than Jackson Hayes, Naz Reid, and barely faster than guys like Taco Fall and Charles Bassey. He had the 4th worst lane agility time. And then you look at the shuttle run as well, and he totally just tanked that as well. Did he? No, he was actually decent at that. My bad. He was decent at that. He was horrible in the lane agility.
Yeah.
But he was fine at the shuttle run. He ran a 3:10, which was on par with like Chris Wilkes, Tremont Waters, Ty Jerome, Maione.
Yeah.
KZ Okpala too. But you worry about why the hell was he so slow in the lane agility time? And we talked about his lack of production at UNC, and then the big news came out when he was throwing pretty much Roy Williams and the whole UNC program under the bus.
Just a smidge.
Some people will say that he wasn't really throwing him under, and he was just more like, oh yeah, it really wasn't my fit, and I didn't realize that, and wasn't really blaming Roy Williams. He was just more saying he didn't fit at UNC, and that he could really stand up better in an NBA system. But
yeah,
how much are you buying of that? How much are you buying of all this Nasir Little stuff? Because he was fine in the shuttle run 3/4 sprint. My bad. Horrible in the lane agility time. Obviously showed a great body. And then he makes news with the UNC stuff. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Nasir Little post-combine?
He moved up my board, to be honest. Like, the one drill is a bad drill, and I'll just say, I have no excuses for him. Maybe just a bad day at that drill.
He had a good max vert, too.
5.9% body fat also. Just insane, because, 5% sort of, bordering on, unsustainable, So that's kind of crazy. As far as, again, he moved up my board. It's simple as, look, I did not love you in college. I think everybody's been screaming from the top of their lungs, he's going to be a better basketball player in the NBA than he is in college. System didn't fit him. Nothing really worked. But I get it. I look at him, and I just see someone who, at the NBA level, probably going to have a limited offensive skill set early on in his career as he continues to grow his shot from the outside. Not too unsimilar from Brandon Clark, but the difference is Brandon Clark can guard, the low post like none other. And Nasir Little is a potentially good wing defender. I'd say right in college he showed us he was, slightly above average, but that's about it. I think at times out there he looked lost, and Ricky goes back to the same quote talking about how he didn't, he needed plays to be reset and he didn't quite get it sometimes on the first try through. So I wonder how much of it is mental, how much of it is just him needing to get on the court and just get playing time consistently, because that's the one thing when you had someone like Cam Johnson in front of you, he was just a better player in college. Cam Johnson's a better college player by a mile than Nasir Little. And if you're going to UNC, Roy Williams wants to win games, so he's putting out his better player. He doesn't care about your draft stock. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the one thing that that's the hinge, It's like, I understand, but at the same time.
Yeah. I think with Nasir, he also showed that he was a decent shooter, too, at the Combine, which was pretty impressive. And that's the thing.
Unguarded, but yeah.
Yeah, you want to unlock that three-point potential, because you always talk about, the defensive potential. It's there. He showed it in that Nike Summit game, right? The Hoop Summit game.
Yeah.
Where he was like locking down
he was the try-hard.
RJ, and he was locking down Cam.
Some say not everyone tried on defense.
Maybe not.
But he did.
But even then he tried, showed that he was great, and if he can show that he has that three-point percentage, he can help a team immediately. It's just, can he jump over that? And the biggest thing with me, him versus Cam Reddish has more size on him, about 3 inches. I think that offensively, Cam has better handles and could probably do more than just a 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
And I think Cam might end up having more positional versatility. It's just the thing that Nasir might end up having over him is if he did feel like he was thwarted at UNC and can turn that up a notch, maybe he can.
He's got that chip on his shoulder.
Exactly. Maybe he can jump over that. But kind of card stacked against him.
Yeah, I'm not counting him out.
He didn't perform well at UNC.
Yeah.
He really has a lot against him of just needing to show a lot coming into the NBA draft, and also just once he comes onto a team, what he can actually do.
But I love the rumor mill already going. Is he going to be a top 10 pick like Sean had in his last mock? Mm-hmm. You might be right on that. That's the stupid thing about it. Like, mocks are mocks, but like there are rumors out there that, after the Combine performance and some interviews going on, he's potentially looking at, around 10, which is surprising to say the least for a lot of people.
Called it.
Yep, Sean
called him my mock draft, even though I hated the pick.
Yeah, Sean, thank you for that, because honestly, I think we all had him. Maybe I think the whole year it's been a little bit of a shit on Nasir because it's easy. He did not play well. He underperformed in many occasions. The only games he did stomp in were against lower quality teams. So I'm very curious to see his individual team workouts. But I just put him on the court, let him play. I hope he goes to a bad team and gets minutes. Yeah. That's my best wishes for him.
And there's some underlying moments that are pretty positive. Shot well from the field, 47.8%. Horrible from three, but hey, you look at the free throw percentage, 77%, which is good too. And you look at the per 40 minutes, they stand out. 1 block, 1 steal per game, which is nice. Really good rebounder too.
For his size especially. Yeah, but I mean, he's got that wingspan. You heard the standing reach numbers.
Showed that he was a good board grabber and ended up per 40. There you look at the offensive rating stuff, 110, which isn't great in college, but a good defensive rating too at 96. So definitely an interesting player. It's going to be fun to see how everything pans out with him. I'm still iffy on him, not going all in, but definitely a guy to watch. Final thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I think that this bracket or this section of our mock should be just, it is potential, and then you've got a couple. I mean, even Rui. Like, we didn't talk about Rui, but Rui's the same situation. He is a couple years into his college career, and he's still growing so much because he wasn't exposed to the game at an early age like a lot of the guys in the U.S. were growing up. Yeah,
really the only guy in my range that wasn't potential guy was probably P.J. Washington, but even then he can kind of grow. All your guys are potential. Probably the least potential would be Kobe White, but he's pretty developed already. And same with...
DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter is already developed.
Right. I totally jumped over. Yeah, Hunter and Kobe White are your guys. Evan Ricky, pretty much same thing too. Nasir Little, Kevin Porter Jr., Goga, Kobe, Rui, Sekou, Brandon Clark, Cam Reddish, Darius, and
I just feel like this class is just different than several in the past because we have not seen so many standout performances. Last year was so loaded. Like, it's just incredible to look at the last couple of years. We got lucky.
Hey, we did get lucky, but this was still fun.
This could surprise us, though. This could be like 13, where it just takes a couple of years, and then guys stand out.
And we look at that 2016 draft, and it kind of sucks now. Or the 2017, too. The 2017 draft,
let's fingers crossed.
But I'm just saying, like, the number 1 pick, Markelle Fultz,
happen.
You know, Lonzo, you know, Jason Tatum, good first season and second season. We'll have to see.